So how many people are seeing errors on my site? And how can I find these errors so I can solve them? Welcome to the channel, my name is Leon. I believe analytics is for everyone, and I believe working with data can help you make better decisions in your daily work. And today I want to do another episode of reporting recipes where I show a step-by-step process of how to set up a certain report. And in this episode we're going to talk about errors, and specifically 404 errors. These are the errors that people see when they go to a page on your site that's not available. For instance, because the page was moved to a different location, or because the page was removed altogether. So of course you want to monitor these errors, especially when you're doing paid ads, or when you're investing a lot of time and energy and money into search engine optimization. You want to be notified as soon as possible when these errors occur. So in this video I'm going to give you the main solution first, which is finding these 404 errors as fast as possible. But after that I want to dive a little deeper, and I want to show you a step-by-step process on how you can set up a custom 404 error report. And if we've done that, I want to dive again a little deeper, and I want to show you a custom solution that you can implement using Google Tag Manager and Google Analytics 4. I hope you're going to learn something today. Let's go. So to find 404 errors on your site as fast as possible, we need to go to our website and we need to find a 404 page. So how I find 404 errors on the site is I type in the URL of my site and then I type in just some gibberish. And this way I know this page will not exist. And of course I end up on a 404 error. And this is what I want, because I want to investigate how this is implemented. And the main thing I look at is this title over here, which says page not found. It's in Dutch, but it says page not found. And this is different on every site, so you should do the same thing on your site. You just go to your domain, type in your domain and then slash, and then just type in some gibberish, so you end up on a 404 error on purpose. And then you check what is the title tag of this page. And we're gonna remember that title tag because we're gonna use that later in our reports. So to find 404 errors, we're gonna go into GA4, we're gonna go into reports, and under engagement, we're gonna open the pages and screens report. I don't know why it's in Dutch here. I switched to English, but it's okay. This is the pages and screens report. And in this report, you will find a table with page title in the first column and then the views and the users after that. We can find if people land on 404 pages by just typing in the title of our 404 page. So my error page has a title of page not found, but then in Dutch. So I'm just gonna type in that title to find out if I have any 404 errors. If people land on a 404 error on your site, it will show up here. In this report, I see that people did not land on 404 pages, so I'm going to switch to another site so I can show you an example of how it looks when there are 404 errors. So I've switched to another site, same report. I'm going to enter in pagina niet gevonden because I know it has the same title. And here I see 20 views on page not found on this particular site. So I know in the last 28 days 404 error has shown on 20 times, and it has shown with 2 users. So the next step is finding out where did these people land, what URLs did people see when they opened these 404 errors. So we can do that by using this little button over here and adding page path to this report. And if I do this, I immediately see that the people are trying to reach a certain API. This tells me that it's probably bot traffic and not real users that are trying to find content on my site. We could make this page a little longer. And now I see all the URLs that returned a 404 error on my site in the last 28 days. So the question arises, what should you do if you've noticed that people are landing on 404 pages? Well, it depends. It could be that a page was moved on accident or a page was moved on purpose, but that people were not redirected to the new URL. Well, either you could move the new location back to the old URL, or you could leave it there, but either way you should add a redirect, either from the old URL to the new URL, or if you move it back from the new URL to the old URL, so people do not see errors, but they land on the content that they were looking for. You can add redirects usually by going into your CMS system. There's usually a plugin available that lets you add a redirect by filling out an old URL and a new URL, and then when you save it and people land on that old URL, they will be automatically redirected to the new URL. The only thing that you should be careful about is that you add 301 redirects and not 302 redirects. The difference is that 301 redirects are permanent, 302 redirects are temporary. And 301 redirects will be recognized by search engines, and this will give you the least amount of damage to your search engine positions. So if you're going the redirects route, I recommend using 301 redirects. It could also be that the people landed on certain 404 errors because a product was removed on your site and because it's not available anymore. Or a job offer was removed from the site because you've found a good candidate and you don't need any more applications. So in that case, you can do two things. You can either just use a 404 error because it signals to everybody that the content was removed, and it's kind of a nice way to keep your site nice and organized. The other thing that I see a lot with online stores, but also with job offers, for instance, is that you keep up not the original product page or the original job offer page, but that you're going to make a kind of a fallback page that shows that the product was removed, that the job offer was removed, but shows alternative products that are kind of the same as the original product. And that way, the positions that page has received in search engines will be maintained a lot longer than when you have a hard 404 error. Also with job offers, if people land on a job offer because they open up an old email, they click on the link, it's nice if they see, oh, okay, this job offer was removed, but there are alternative job offers that you could perhaps apply to. So in that way, it's a little bit more user-friendly than just a hard 404. Of course, this will generate a lot of pages on your site that you will need to maintain somehow. So if you do not want that hassle, I think a 404 error is not a bad option in this scenario. So the third thing that you want to do, perhaps you found out that somebody either from inside your site or outside your site was linking to a bad link. For instance, they meant to send people to About Us, but they misspelled it and people land on a 404 error. Well, the best thing to do, of course, is to go back and have that link replaced. And later on in this video, I'm going to show you how you can find out where these people clicked from, so you're better able to contact the person responsible and get that link resolved. So now you know where to find 404 errors in GA4. You know what to do and how to solve them. I want to dive a little deeper and show you how you can set up a dedicated report with all 404 errors on your site. Let's dive in. So I'm going into GA4 again. This time I'm going into Explore. I'm going to create a new exploration report. This is the fastest way to set up a 404 error report in GA4. I'm going to give it the name 404 errors. So by default, an exploration report is set to a fixed date, but I do not want this, because if I open up this report a week from now, I just want it to show the last 28 days. So I'm just going to select last 28 days and click apply. Then we're going to need a couple of ingredients. First of all, dimensions. We're going to need title, of course. We're going to need page path plus query string. This will give us the most information about what URL was used. You could also use page path, but then the last part of the URL could be removed. So I want the full URL, so I'm going to choose page path plus query string here. I'm going to click import. Also, I'm going to choose some metrics. I'm going to choose views and active users. So now that we have our dimensions and metrics imported, I'm going to set up the report. So I'm going to set up a report 404 errors. I'm going to give it page path as rows, and as values I'm going to select views and active users. This will give me a list of all pages on the site. I do not want that. I want to filter it down by page title. So I'm going to drag page title into the filters section. And I'm going to select contains. And I'm going to give it exactly the same title as previously, which is page not found, but then in Dutch. So it's pagina niet gevonden. And then I'm going to click apply. So please note that this is case sensitive, and then you will find all 404 errors. I wanted to show a little bit more rows, so I'm going to give it 100. And now I have a list of all 404 errors on my site from the last 28 days, sorted by the amount of views. This is the quickest way on how you set up a 404 errors report in GA4. You could share this with other people by going into Explore and then choosing Share in this tab. You can share it only in read-only mode. So if somebody else wants to modify it somehow, they need to duplicate that report so they can customize it. So the great thing about exploration reports is that you can use these reports to dive a little deeper in what traffic source forwarded these people into this error. Was there a link that came previously before people clicked into this error? And I want to show you how you do that. So we're going back into our 404 error report. And if you want to dive a little deeper, I recommend duplicating the first step. So we're keeping the first step. If you want to dive into one of these URLs, you can right click and choose include only selection. This will filter out all the others, so you only have this one left. Now I'm gonna add some dimensions to this report. For instance, session, source medium, and also page referrer. But you could also choose to add more dimensions, for instance, country, device, category, etc. to find out more about the user that saw that error. I'm going to click import. And first I'm going to drag session source medium into my tab. And I saw that the source for this was direct, none. You could also see, for instance, Google Organic. You could see a paid ad media, or you could see your email here. This will give you a lot of information where the people from that error page came from. You could also choose page referrer. In this case it probably will not give anything back because the traffic was direct. But in case there was a referring page before that, it will give you the information here. So to find out even more about the users that landed on this particular error, you could also choose dimensions like country or device category or anything else. In my case, I see this error came from country China. I suspect this is bot traffic for various reasons, but the example still exists. If you have an error on your site and you want to know a little bit more about your users, this is the way that you can go. So far I've shown you how you can find 404 errors in GA4 fast, and I've shown you a method how you can set up a dedicated 404 error report under explorations. But what if you want to make a library report in Google Analytics 4, or you do not have a page title available to you and you do not have the option of changing that very easily? There is a third option that involves a little bit work in Google Tag Manager. It is a little bit more advanced, that's why I kept it till the end of the video, but perhaps you'll learn something. This is how I would set this up. So I'm in Google Tag Manager, and as you can see, I already have set up the base GA4 config tag, and I assume you already have that also. I'm going to add a new tag. I'm going to call it GA4 event, and I'm going to call it error 404. I'm going to go into tag configuration. I'm going to choose the GA4 event tag. I need to link this to the configuration tag that's already there. So I'm going to select GA4 config. I'm going to call this error 404. And now we need to make a trigger that fires when people land on a 404 page. Well, we can do a couple of things. We need to make a new trigger specifically for 404 errors. I'm going to choose the DOM ready event, some DOM ready events, and we could do two things. We could either use the title or the h1 tag that's here. Well, let's go with the title first. So I'm going to go click a new variable. I'm going to name it page title. I'm going to choose DOM element, and I'm going to choose CSS selector, and I'm going to select the title. This will just return what's in here at the top of the page. This will return whatever is in the page title. So I'm going to click save. I'm going to say contains, and this is also custom to your site. With me, it's pagina niet gevonden. I'm going to hit save. So this will make sure that this tag only fires on 404 errors. If you do not have a page title like this and you still want to make this trigger, what you could do is use the h1 title. So the process is the same, but instead of making a page title variable, you would make a new variable called h1 title with the variable type DOM element again. We're going to select it using the CSS selector. We're going to select the h1 element. This will return whatever is in the h1 element. This way I can say if the h1 title contains this text, which is exactly the same in this case, I can hit save. And this is an alternative route in using the h1 title instead of the title tag on your page. Well, let's test it to make sure it works. So I'm going to hit preview. I've already filled in the domain of my site, so it loads here automatically. And I see that the following tags are fired: GA4 config and also the 404 error. I want to click on the home page too, just to make sure that it doesn't fire there. I see the GA4 tag was fired 2 times now, but still the GA4 event tag was fired just 1 time. So I know only the 404 errors are tracked and not the other pages. So there are a couple of tweaks that I want to do. So with this 404 error, I want to make a new parameter with the name error 404 count, and the value is 1. This will give me the option in GA4 to make a custom metric that says the amount of times a 404 error was viewed on the site, which is really useful when you want to make library reports. We could also make a second field here with the name page location or error 404 URL to somehow tell GA4 what the location of the error was. But we do not need to do this because on the same page already the GA4 config tag fires. This tag will register the page location, and on all other following event tags will automatically use that same page location field. So we do not need to send it here. If you're ready, you can submit it. We need to do a little bit more configuration in GA4 also. So I'm going to go into admin. I'm going to go into custom definitions. I'm going to add a custom metric. So I'm going to give it this metric name. I'm going to give it a short description that tells people that hover over with their mouse what the metric is showing. I need to fill out the event parameter that I filled in here. So it's error 404 underscore count, and the user unit of measurement is just standard because we're not measuring any currency, we're not measuring distance or time. It's just the amount of 404 errors. I'm going to hit save. Now we're going to make a new library report. So we're going to go under reports. We're going to go under library. I'm going to create a new report. I'm going to create a new detail report. As dimensions, I'm going to choose page path plus query string. Again, this will give me the most information, not just the URL, but also the parameters that followed it. And as metrics, I'm going to choose error 404. Well, of course, I've just implemented this on my site, so it will not show any data yet. But if I check back tomorrow, and if people landed on 404 errors, they will end up on this in this report. So I'm just going to hit save. I'm going to click save. For this report to show up here in the menu, you need to add it to a collection. I do not have a custom collection here, so I'm going to just choose a new collection. I'm going to call it reporting recipes. I'm going to create a topic with the name 404 errors. And in this topic, I have the option of creating an overview report, which is more kind of a dashboard view. And I also have the option of creating a detail report. This is where I can drag my 404 errors report into. I'm going to hit save. I'm going to go back. And the last step is I need to publish my new collection. This will show my new report over here. And then I can go into the report by clicking here. Again, it doesn't show any data yet because I've just implemented it on my site. But if I go back tomorrow or in a week, data will show up in this report. Alright, that's it for today. I hope this video was helpful for you. I hope it was clear. If you have any questions, please leave a comment down below. Also, if you like this video, please leave a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. This really helps me get this channel off the ground. Have a great day and see you in the next video. Goodbye.